Hi YouTube, Cali.live here, and welcome to the results for Lost Data Collection for Episode 9, Act 2. This act has a huge asterisk for me, and it's going to skew the data farther in one direction because of what happened. So as most of you know, I only solo queue comp. Because of this, I run into derankers, throwers, and trolls constantly. It is so bad I have to worry more about teammates throwing than worry about the other team being good. When I call them out, they get upset I figured out their plan, they get salty, and I file reports and try to get the game over with as soon as possible. Unfortunately, they in turn file reports back, and those reports stack up fairly quickly. So for the start of Episode 9, Act 2, my main, and until then my only account I queue comp with, got a month-long suspension. Side note, but this created an unflattering situation for Riot for the way they responded to my ticket, in which it is made clear that they meant their response for someone else. I get I'm not a big-time content creator, but them just closing the ticket felt like they were just sweeping a mistake under the rug to keep the metrics in line with their message regarding their revamped behavior policy. So, unless you are on a pro team or a big-time content creator, you get the short end of the stick. Regardless, I moved on as I didn't want to miss out on a big chunk of the act. So I made an alt and grinded that out to level 20. That took a little over a week during stream hours, as I don't play this game when I'm not streaming. Then I had placements, and I got placed into gold. However, this act is slightly different for another reason. This time I solo queued on the North American Oregon servers to see if the experience was any different than the California one. And I will say this, there was a difference. And no, not in a good way either. I still saw the same red flags that I saw in California, but with a slightly different weighting on different flags. In California, derankers sound unhinged, like if someone brought gaming PCs into the psych ward or something. While I grew up with Halo, COD, and Counter-Strike voice comms, Valorant voice comms are generally tame. But comparing California Valorant comms to Oregon, some of the unhinged shit I hear in California servers sound like it could be a very, very tame CS lobby. In California servers, people are vocal. The thumbnail is not clickbait. In Oregon servers, the comms are very few and far between. However, I will say, the comms I do hear, people seem very nice. Even the few times that people deranking had comms, oddly enough. Which is very ironic. I actually lived in Oregon for a year, and we had to leave because the people weren't very nice. Strange, how things wind up that way. In-game behavior was still relatively the same. I still saw people staring at walls, inspecting skins and sprays on the other side of the map, while the rest of their team was dead on the site, or throwers just running out and dying on purpose without attempting a trade, leaving the non-duoed or trioed players to attempt to clean up the mess. When I start the next act on the next server, I wonder if this behavior will carry over, or if we will see a different way people throw. Anyway, on to the data. Feel free to pause the video and grab a screenshot if you want. Again, remember that I played less comp games as I did in Act 1. So when I get to the percentages, take it with a grain of salt. Things could have been different had I been able to use my main the entire act. It was also very different compared to California, where the maps that derankers chose to derank on. In California, Bind had the second lowest number of losses due to derankers. In Oregon, it was the first, and by far the worst in terms of RR loss. Despite missing out on 30 days of the act on my main, Bind on Oregon lost me over 300 RR. I didn't even crack 300 RR lost on any map during Act 1 in California. Surprisingly, Lotus and Sunset on the Oregon servers had the fewest losses due to derankers, with the RR loss on Lotus not even getting to 100, and Sunset just barely cracking it. Icebox seemed to be the constant for both servers, with both acts having around 10 plus losses due to derankers. Okay, now down to the percentages, and again, remember that there is slightly less data here than before, which is going to affect the final numbers. All in all, for Episode 9, Act 2 on Oregon, my losses in total were 77, with 72 of them due to derankers, and only 5 due to the legit losses. I lost 1,389 RR, with 1,283 RR lost because of derankers. Comparatively to Act 1, those numbers aren't that different. As you can see, there was only a difference of about 200 RR. But wait, remember how I said there was less data, as in data from games lost? How is it that there is just about a 200 RR loss difference between the two acts, despite not being able to play the same amount of time? Remember, I said this one was going to have an asterisk, and it's going to show up in the percentage. This act, with the data that I collected, 93.5% of my losses were because of derankers. I actually had more losses than wins this act, which is why I got deranked to as low as Gold 1, and got about halfway into Gold 2 before the act ended. The thing that sucks is, I felt a lot of these games could have been won, compared to the losses in California. But Valorant is a team-based game. You can't play both Flash and Anti-Flash. You can't plant the spike and defend yourself while planting the spike. You can't defuse and protect yourself while defusing either. If the people deranking on the Oregon servers weren't, you would think they would do the bare minimum of communicating important info. But they didn't, and it was harder to tell if they were deranking until it was blatantly obvious at the very end. And that is made clear by the unusually high amount of overtime games. I played fewer games in Oregon, yet I had 8 overtime losses compared to 4 in California. Some of these games, lost because of derankers or not, might have been won had there just been comms. You need teammates that not only comm, but react to comms in order to rank up in this game. And I'll conclude with this. Do not solo queue Oregon competitive servers unless you want to be in zero comms hell. Alright everybody, thanks for sticking around. Enjoy the video. If you liked it, leave a like, comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Alright, peace out.